WTF The Incredible Hulk, Wonder Woman, Superman.
Great.
Those are all possibilities.
Those are all shows. A Different World is a Cosby Show spinoff.
A Different World was a different experience from watching it as a kid.
A Different World spoke to the generation for which that world represented.
I thought you were going to say was different. Hey, everybody, and welcome to Fallingtower's Watch the First podcast, the podcast in which we watch the first episode of a series so that you don't have to. And then we talk about it. If you want us to review a show, just say WTF, WTF DuckTales, WTF Seinfeld, WTF Cheers, all the ones that we always say, but nobody ever says for us to do. That stands for Watch the First. Always here with us, superstar, guitarist, comedian, writer, producer, director, birdwatcher, Michael Kenyon Rosenberg.
Woo!
Today,
Hi.
a very special guest, Rico Anderson, actor, host, podcaster, YouTuber maybe someday, Rico Anderson.
And time traveler.
My name's Ryan T. Husk. I make people feel uncomfortable. So,
24.
You forgot to tell everyone Rico's middle name. Rico Elephant Anderson.
Elephant. And Ryan, you're usually so good at going Rico E. Anderson. So
I did at first, but then
Yeah,
I was like, I don't want to do it
Used
again.
for elephant.
Slipping, man. I
Michael
expect
Kenyon
something.
Rosenberg, Rico E. Anderson, and Ryan T.
Husk.
So
Should we do it like this?
today we are doing a review, as you may have guessed, of A Different World. The first episode of A Different World, which was entitled
Reconcilable differences.
Differences. That's the one. So first thing we do right at the top is my favorite thing. The rest of the way I'm just coasting because I'm just excited about this first thing. Michael,
Just downhill from here.
at best, Michael Kenyon Rosenberg and I have known each other for quite some time, so we like to predict if the other liked it or how much, how we felt about it. So everybody at home in the live chat and in the comments, make sure you make your predictions. Do you think I liked it? Do you think Michael liked it? Do you think Rico liked it? And how much and why? First things first, Michael, I think you liked it. Not a gigantic like, but a medium-ish like a 6 to 7-ish like. Rico, I think, this is a tough decision for me since you like everything. I'm going to say you like this very much. I'm going to go out on a limb. What do you think, Michael?
Ryan, I think you did not like it. I think you thought you were going to like it, but you didn't. And I think that Rico did like it.
Ryan is the opposite of Mikey. Remember Mikey in the
Yes, the cereal.
Mikey
He
liked
doesn't
everything.
like it.
Yeah, Ryan hates everything.
He hates it. Ryan hates it.
Hey, Ryan! Yeah, as he throws the cereal.
Well, we'll see in a moment. But what do you think, Mike?
What do you think, Rico?
Yeah.
Whoa. Which one, Michael or Rico?
Other Michael.
I think that guy. I think Michael, you.
Oh, me?
I think you liked it.
Michael Kangaroo Rosenberg.
Kangaroo Rosenberg. And I think Ryan T. Husk, I think you liked it, but I don't think you loved it.
I think it's cool if Rico's middle name is Elephant, Michael is Kangaroo. If I'm T, can I be Pterodactyl?
Yeah. No, that starts with a P, actually.
See,
so.
that's the joke. That's the joke. But what would I be then?
Joke. It's a joke. If you don't get the joke,
Tree
Would I be
hugger, don't know.
Tiger?
Oh yeah, you could be Tiger. Yeah,
like,
Rawr, meow, meow.
go get him, Tiger.
Rawr. That's fierce.
Tiger.
So, what everybody's asking now, they're like, okay, so we made our predictions. What's the answer? And we say, well, first we have to know what this show's about, guys. Sorry to say.
Mhm.
What do you think, Michael?
I think I could tell you guys what the show is about.
Thank goodness.
In this show, a group of students at a historically black university struggle to make it through college. In this episode, it's the first day at Hillman, and Denise Huxtable needs to settle with a roommate.
Oh boy. And let the hijinks ensue.
That was nice. I like that.
So this is when you start to find out what we really thought of it eventually. Here it comes, guys. We play what we expected versus what we got. Before we watched it, what did we expect? And we compare and contrast that with what we got. Michael, what did you get before you watched it? Sorry, what did you expect? That was a close one.
What did I get before I watched it? Well, I didn't get anything because I hadn't watched it yet.
I got a soda and I sat down.
What did I expect? So I remember liking this show back in the 80s. I remember I didn't watch it regularly. I didn't really know what time it came on, but whenever it came on, I was like, oh yeah, this is that show that I like. And I remember liking it and watching it. And so that's what I was expecting.
Mm-hmm. What about you, Rico? What did you expect before you watched this first episode?
I'm about to give you a very long form answer.
All right.
So go pee. So hey, back here.
Oh, my bad.
God, thank God you were wearing pants.
Yeah.
So this show came out at a time where there was this
That time, by the way, 1987.
Mm-hmm.
1987. Yeah. This show came out at a time when there was this huge movement of Black awareness. And it's a time that actually it went beyond just learning it in school. You saw it in your music. You saw it in the movies like Spike Lee's films. You saw it in a few TV shows too. But this particular show came out of it's a spinoff of the Cosby Show. And what was great about this show is it spoke to the youth of the time and being aware of, it just spoke to a lot of things pertaining to youth, but in this case, particularly Black youth. And it was an exciting time because there was a lot of really cool stuff out there that just, it was always cool to be Black, but made it even cooler to be Black. And I was there for it, and I loved it, and I was very excited when I heard the show was coming out. I also had a crush on Lisa Bonet, and
Everybody did.
Yeah, I
so
was gonna say who didn't. Yeah.
right. So and I'm just like, oh my gosh, she did their own show. I mean, I'm totally here for it. But I was here for it for all those reasons. So my expectations was very high.
Oh, here we go. Now that we've covered everything that we're supposed to cover for the next hour, we're done.
No, but I needed to set that up because
Right.
those expectations for me were very high just because of the fact that I was engrossed in everything that I just said at the time, loved the Cosby Show, and was expecting to really love this just based on the success of what the Cosby Show was, what it represented, and how this was going to basically slide into pretty much that same formula and what it ended up being.
So that's what you expected the first time, way back in the day. What about before you watched it this time? What were your expectations revisiting it?
Remembering everything that was back then, and also reminiscing
And reminiscing.
cool memories, and just looking back, and of course from what the show as a whole represented, to the styles, to the just remembering all these new characters coming on board, and Yeah,
Yeah.
it was a great look back.
Well, I'll tell you what I expected. I expected an enjoyable show that I would have bits and pieces of memories of. You know what I mean? Like Michael, I remember watching it as a kid and liking it, and I feel like everybody did. It was just one of those things that everybody kind of, liked it,
Fun show.
like the Cosby Show and stuff.
It was fun.
And I expected to remember some of that and be a little nostalgic and have some fun and have a good time. But that's what we expected. This is where it gets crazy. What did you get, Michael?
What I got was a pretty lame premise for a first episode. It was just stupid. I was like, what the heck are they doing? First of all, I remember always
You just made Rico's goatee fall off for a second. He had to fix it. It just started to...
I remember always liking Dwayne Wayne, and I still liked him.
Right.
I think the very first scene, you open up on Dwayne Wayne, and he flips up the glasses, and I remember always liking that. I was like, man, I want to get some glasses like that, like when I was a kid.
That was like a style too. A lot of people have.
That was the Dwayne Wayne style right there, man. That was to me, that will always be synonymous with Dwayne Wayne. And so I liked that they opened up with him. He was kind of lame because his whole thing was just he like is hitting on every girl, and he's like in the girls' dorm, like hitting on every girl in there. First of all, should she not be there? Isn't there some rules against not having men in the women's dorm?
Well, they did mention that he was always on the porch.
Right. Yeah.
Like guys,
the key about the 80s,
that was
the key about watching 80s shows is not to overthink anything. 80s.
They said that about Cliff Huxtable.
That's true, but I think they were hinting at
on the porch.
Like a lot of guys did that.
Right. I could see that. But then to me, like this whole premise of, I've got a roommate that's older, so I can't. What? She's an older lady going to college? What? I can't get along with her. That's crazy. That's just a dumb premise to me. So.
Then also remember they also added the fact that she was in jail.
She was in jail or something like that. Yeah.
That should make her cooler. So Rico, what did you get?
What did I get?
We know what you expected.
Right.
That was before you watched it. When you watched it, compare that with what you got. What did you actually get?
I was still very over the moon about it. I was very excited. I was very excited for this show. I was there for it. I was the number one fan. I was that person who could not wait to see the next episode, to see these characters. So I got total satisfaction out of it.
Nice.
I didn't really analyze it down to the T. I just knew what I liked based on what.
Down to the tiger.
There you go. The T. I just knew what I liked based on where it came from.
Mm-hmm.
The format, the type of show it came from, and just all of that. These new characters can be better, or it can only continue to be great because, of the formula of which it came, for which it came.
So
I loved it. I loved all of it.
Remember when Rico gave a long answer to a short question?
It was 10 minutes ago.
That's usually what I do. So I can't talk, and I'm about to right now.
Oh, great.
So I'm glad you broke that ice for me, Rico. Because what I got is a very complicated issue.
Which is?
Well, I'll tell you. Thanks for asking.
Sure.
Was last night, I had a pretty busy day, a pretty stressful day, it was just a messy day. I hadn't slept much, and things were, there are things. You know how the world is. Life, there are things. We work, we do stuff.
Mm.
And I was thinking about, okay, well, what do I have to do for the rest of the day? What do I got to do tonight, tomorrow? And I was like, I got to record the review of A Different World. That means I have to watch A Different World. And I was like, actually, that sounds like exactly what I need right now. I've had a stressful day and I'm annoyed and I got all these things. I was like, I actually think this is perfect timing. This is going to be it's not going to be I have to watch it. It's going to be an enjoyable experience that I deserve to watch. So I put it on. I was immediately just blown away by the theme song. Like the bass was crunchy and heavy, and I was all for it. I was like, damn, this bass, first thing, the theme song kills it. That's a 10. That bass is a beast. I'm in it to win it. Then they come in, the show like starts off with a bang. It didn't really have like an intro. It just kind of like, I was just thrown into it. I was like, oh, this is weird. We're supposed to, and I was like, I guess we kind of got introduced to all these characters maybe in the Cosby Show episode that gave it the spinoff or something like that. And I loved it. I thought that Whitley character was unfreaking real. Watched the whole thing, was extremely happy, just made my life. And I was like, oh wait, what was the title of that thing after it was over? So I go back on Amazon to, I saw the first episode of season 4.
Hold up.
Yeah, that's what happened. That's why you don't remember the bass crunching it super hard, was because they redid the song apparently somewhere between the first season and the fourth season. I saw the first episode of season 4. What I saw was something called Everything Must Change. The first episode, September 20th, 1990. And when I went back to go write down that title, I saw that it said season 4. I was like, why did Amazon automatically put me to season 4 when there are 6 seasons? So it wasn't like the most recent. It wasn't the first one. So then I was like, well, okay, I'm already here. Let's watch the first season and the first episode. And it wasn't nearly as good.
Now, they changed the title like 3 or 4 times, like the opening title song. It's the same lyrics.
Same song, yeah.
It's the same song.
They just revamped it. Dude, you guys have got to listen to the theme song in the 4th season. I was like, oh my God, I don't remember it being so good.
Well, Aretha Franklin sang it once, and then Boyz II Men sang it.
Ooh, I didn't know that version.
Yeah, it was more harmonious. And then Aretha, she sang it in her Aretha voice. And then I think they did one other one. But the first season is it's very bluesy. It's very... with the harmonica.
And that first note sounds like the Roseanne first note on the harmonica too.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so there's that. But I think right after that, I think that's when Aretha Franklin came in and sang her version, which I think is the best version. I love what she did with it. Boyz II Men, they kill it too. But I mean, I love all the themes, but I love Aretha's version because that's really bassy. Maybe that's the one that you're thinking of, right?
Well, it has to be. Yeah.
Yeah.
It was. Anyway, and then I noticed while I was watching the episode, I mean, look, I just was watching the episode. I was just enjoying it. And Lisa Bonet was not in that episode. And I was like, oh, that's weird. I thought she was in this. Maybe she comes in later. And I was like, I remember she was having problems. Maybe she was in it less than I thought. And I guess the main character was this Whitley girl who crushed it. Yeah. This girl, Jasmine Guy, is so freaking amazingly talented. And then when I watched the first episode correctly, eventually, Lisa Bonet was the main character, and we love her, and yes, she's amazing. Everybody had a crush on her, but it was significantly more low key, and Whitley was just the secondary, like, annoying character or whatever. Anyway, but let's talk more about it. It's a bummer because Whitley I was blown away by how talented that actress was. She just she made every single line funny and or interesting, no matter what, even if it was just, oh, I didn't know.
She was terrible in the first episode.
I know.
Well, you know what it was? Different World was definitely one of those shows that fell under they didn't quite 100% know everything that they were trying to do with it, because the first show, and then like you go fast forward to like the 4th season, it's a total different show.
Yeah, it's a different world. Dude, by the way, we have our backgrounds. Look, there's no Lisa Bonet in our backgrounds. We have Whitley as the main character. So we don't even...
I don't even have anybody at all in my background.
Well, yours is probably the correct one to have.
This is after she left. You know why she ended up not being on the show anymore?
No, and I don't remember when she left, but I knew that she had.
So she left after, I think, the 2nd or 3rd season. but she left because she was having some issues with Bill Cosby, who had issues with a little film she did with Mickey Rourke called Angel Heart, where she basically it was about well, a few things, but demonic possession and stuff like that. And she ended up having sex with Mickey Rourke in the film, and she was topless, and it was everything that was against anything that was wholesome, in the Cosby world, of course.
I see.
Nowadays, but yeah, so he fired her.
Oh,
He fired her.
so
she ended up
leave.
leaving.
He fired her.
Yeah, she ended up leaving the show, and that's when they also. And I could be wrong with this. I don't remember if she was there. Debbie Allen came in, and she totally revamped the show.
And then Sinbad joined in, right?
Sinbad joined in.
Sinbad wasn't in the first episode, but he was in mine. I was like, oh, Sinbad! I remember he was in this.
He was part of that whole revamp. They even fired Marissa Tomei, who is in the cast. Who I guess was in the second episode, which was actually the first episode because it was called Pilot.
That was confusing.
That's a weird thing. Yeah.
The second episode is called Pilot Presentation, I think.
Which I guess makes sense because you see Marissa Tomei in that, even though she's credited in the first episode.
Right.
So it's all weird. I get. Maybe it's all part of they didn't know.
It's all catawampus.
Whatever that means. What is that? Catawampus. Is that a word?
It's a white term.
Yeah. Oh, okay. So that explains what.
That's why I laughed when he said it.
And I'm just like.
I laughed because it just sounded funny, honestly.
Yeah.
There was also Don Lewis, who I was calling Dawn Patrol while I was watching it. Dawn Patrol. Am I right, guys? That's a Megadeth reference. Shout out to Megadeth. Dawn Patrol.
Yeah, sure.
But anyway, she does the voice of the captain in Lower Decks, Star Trek Lower Decks. So that is really cool that she is still.
Oh, yeah.
That was Jaleesa.
Yeah. Ah.
So, boy, since you mentioned Bill Cosby, let's put a bow on that conversation before we move on to the next, which is, we've been doing some pretty cool shows for Black History Month. This is the last one. We did Black Panther, we did Lovecraft Country, and we did Woke.
Yeah.
Now I personally, and I know we all kind of really wanted to do the Cosby Show because of its importance, because it wasn't just like, it was America's family. And I feel like, and maybe Rico, you could speak on this better than I can, but I feel like that was the first time you're looking at a show like that as not Black America's family, but America's family. Like everybody was tuning in. And that was a big change. And we would have loved to review that one and celebrate that one and talk about how important that was. But anybody not paying attention to the news, Bill Cosby is not really something you really want to talk too much about or celebrate right now. So we kind of have to leave that alone. So we thought this was the perfect way to still be a part of that movement and talk about how important it was and celebrate it without something that actually has Cosby in the name, in the actual name. But I don't know if you want to speak on that before we move on to the next.
Even though in the Cosby Show, they're not even named Cosby, they're named Huxtable. Which is
so weird. At least in Seinfeld, the main character's name is Jerry Seinfeld, but in the Cosby Show, they're the Huxtables, right?
I think that's part of like an old school thing. It's kind of like Lucy, I Love Lucy, or the Lucy Show, or Here's Lucy, the Dick Van Dyke Show, the Andy Griffith Show. They didn't play their characters, but it was their show. So Bill Cosby had some other shows. He had the Bill Cosby Show. He had a Cosby Show. He had a show called Cosby, which actually came after
the Cosby Show.
Yeah.
The Jello pudding.
And then there was the Jello pudding pops. No, the Cosby Show was one of those shows that this came out pre-VCR, on-demand, pre-digital, pre-internet. And I remember everybody was like, okay, what do we need to do? Thursday at 8 o'clock, though, I got to be home for the Cosby Show.
Right.
So whatever
happens, I'm going to be home at 7:45 just to be safe.
We got to wrap it up at 7 because I got to jump on the bus or I got to jump on the free, you know what I mean? So it's like you had to be home to catch the Cosby Show. Because, you know, you basically, if you missed it, you'd have to wait till the show was over, and I guess they showed reruns in the summer. I don't remember exactly how that worked, but it was something like that. But yeah, it was definitely a show that spoke to everybody, because everybody, Bill Cosby portrayed, you know, like America's dad, that type of dad that everybody could look and relate to, because he had the thing about him that was like, Bill Cosby about to tell a story. Tell us a story, Mr. Cosby. You know, you saw that with things like Fat Albert. You saw that with other projects that he did, and just that persona that thing that made him, at least on TV. And so it spoke to everybody in a way where you felt it was a very feel-good show. And he introduced a lot of people to his love of jazz, family values, and sweaters. Remember all the sweaters that he wore?
Oh, yeah.
Things like that. But also, you know, those things were instilled in the kids. And of course, he wanted to expand that with a different world.
Right. And he also introduced a lot of really cool characters and actors in The Cosby Show. Phylicia Rashad, Malcolm Jamal Warner, Lisa Bonet, little girl who's Rudy, I think, right? Anyway, so like,
and wait,
we just don't want to poop on an entire show because of what one person did. And that's the real tragic thing, at least in the TV world, is that like all those other people, you know, we shouldn't take away from what they did. But anyway, we don't want to talk too much about The Cosby Show, but go ahead and finish up.
I just want to say one of the oldest daughter, she actually played in an episode of Next Generation as one of the helmsmen piloting the Enterprise.
Really?
Yeah. Do you
remember the episode?
I can't remember. It was one episode, and she was featured because she was just coming off of, I think the show may have gone off the air, or she just did an episode and she was still on the show, or maybe she left the show, because there was a time when she left the show because I think she got married and she wasn't on the show as much. So, but yeah.
We could look it up, but you know,
sure.
Whatever. That's a lot of search buttons to click. Anyway, so now we're talking about a different world. We're talking about this first episode, and so far it seems like Michael and I are in agreement that it was not as good as we expected, and it was not as good as what we remembered.
Right. I'm kind of interested now, though. I think I might want to jump to season 4, because based on what you said, man.
You must see. I mean, just to see the stark contrast in the pace, the jokes are better, they're faster, the characters are like well fleshed out. I was like, wow, these characters are so well fleshed out already. But that's because they had 3 years to do it. What's her name? Whitley is just
a guy. Yeah.
He carries the show, even though she's a character actor. You know, she's doing like a character-y kind of thing. But yeah, there's a big difference there.
Ever since they brought Debbie Allen in to take over the show, this is what we got. This is all what we got. It fleshed it out more. It brought in more characters. It just made it that much more better. Debbie Allen did it. It was on her. Bill Cosby.
When you were first watching this, Rico, did you wanted to be Dwayne Wayne, didn't you?
I wanted to be Dwayne Wayne because of the fact that, yeah, he was getting at all the girls, and maybe I got at a few back in the day too. But you know, he was cool, man. He was cool.
Cool.
I like what he did with that character. It was very solid. You know, very solid.
Do you guys know the actor's name?
I
don't.
Yeah, I do, and it's like at the tip of my tongue.
Anyway, no, he's great. He's
Kadeem Hardison.
Kadeem Hardison, yes.
Dude, he's so charismatic with that big old smile and that like unabashed, I'm just gonna go for it, I'm gonna say it, I'm gonna do it, and hey, if it doesn't work out, whatever, at least the audience is still with me, am I right? You know, like he's super charming. We love it.
I think one of the great things about all these characters is, I mean, just like with any story, hopefully you have an evolution. of who you are. All these characters have these wonderful evolutions throughout the course of the series. And Dwayne Wayne starts out the way we see him and know him, but he actually, without spoiling, because you want people to see it, he ends up so much better. And you see that journey, and in a lot of ways, you can relate to that journey, no matter who you are, black, white, whatever. But it's cool. Everybody in the show had great. Everybody's character was focused well on, and they've all been given great material to work with.
Not on the first episode, but
well, even in the first episode, if you think about it, you see Kadeem Hardison, and I mean, they're giving him. You're kicking it off. You got the first line. We're about to show you who this guy is. It's not showing Denise Huxtable.
But it's not like they give him any good lines or anything like that. I mean, all of his lines are super cheesy and lame. Like,
it was the 80s.
Hey!
All lines were cheesy.
That was the epitome of cheese. The 80s was cheese, baby.
I don't eat dairy, so.
Cheese, no crackers.
What specifically disappointed you about it, Michael? Was the writing? Was what?
Yes.
Any
keep going.
I mean, well, what about was it the jokes that weren't landing, or was it
Yes.
the storyline that was boring, or what
All
was
three,
it?
yes.
Ooh. Okay, well, what characters did you like, or were they all kind of bland?
Well, obviously, Dwayne Wayne was my favorite character growing up, and even in this first episode, he is the only one that was even remotely close to good. So
That was bringing something extra.
right, bring anything at all.
Yeah, I was expecting to like Whitley the best because I had just seen the fourth season episode, but her character was diminished, and it was just kind of like she was like the annoyance person. I really liked Freddie a lot. She didn't have a lot of lines, but she is very charismatic. She's very cute. She's got a great smile. She's very fun. So I was like, oh, I remember her face. I hope she's good. And she had like 2 lines. No, I thought she was in the first episode.
I don't remember. No.
Oh, then that was the 4th episode that she only had like 2 or 3 lines with, I don't know, somebody else. And I was like, bummer. I wanted to see more.
Now, Freddie, she's big in the voiceover world, and she was the voice of Penny in Inspector Gadget.
No way. That's so cool.
That's Penny in Inspector Gadget.
You're such a good nerd, Rico. Good job.
Yeah. So
that's all I got about Inspector Gadget.
All right, well,
we're not going to go any deeper on it. Nobody cares. There was a dog. There was the guy that would say, "I'll get you, Gadget." Moving on.
But I think Whitley was the most between Whitney and Dwayne. Those were the most charismatic in the first episode. Yeah. Those are the ones who popped the most because of Whitley's, over the top Southern, bougie attitude, and Dwayne Wayne, who was just like the skirt chaser, girls.
Right.
It was just such an obvious fake accent from Whitley too, but that kind of just made it more funny. Is how extreme it was. We're like, okay, that's not real, but let's see how long. Are you talking about
season 4 again?
No, it was actually thicker in season 4, but in season 1 it was still there. It was uber thick, and I was kind of caught myself thinking like, she can't keep this up forever. Like eventually, but she did. Anyway, I can't say enough about how amazing she was in the 4th season.
She was so great at it, to the point where when you saw her in interviews or doing other roles, you were more shocked when she wasn't doing the country accent, or you, in your back of your mind, you're like, okay, here it comes. And you and you're just like, and it almost seems like she was more boring in real life, but she was just, that was a character.
Did she say where she's from, so we're supposed to know where that accent comes from exactly, like Alabama or what?
Yeah, they said in the first episode, and I can't remember where.
I remember her mentioning like a school or a city. You don't remember, Mike?
Nope.
Was it Louisiana or?
It's definitely down in there somewhere.
It's somewhere south.
Dirty South.
Yeah.
Dirty South.
Dirty South. I mean, Hillman is. Well, it's not a real school, but
Well, then we can't find it. We're not going to.
added that to Spellman, but yeah. But,
Well, I think that this review is kind of off track because Ryan's.
Oh, I
his
know. I
impression
threw
of
it
the
off
fourth
track. No, I
episode,
know.
And then Rico's kind of remembering the show as a whole. But we're here to talk about the first episode, guys. And the
Reel
first
us in,
episode
Mike. Reel
was
us in.
bad. It was bad. You have to. It was such a terrible premise. It's like, okay, you have this. Okay, my roommate is old, so I can't. Like, why can't you get along with your roommate just because they're older? Like, it doesn't make any sense at all. And then, okay, you heard that she was in jail. And so what? Yeah, it's like maybe I'm just looking at it through the lens of somebody from 2021, but it just seems like these are just non-issues. And like, why is that such a huge difference of people that you can't get along? And like, what was it? Jaleesa was calling Lisa Bonet's character, calling her bougie and spoiled. Like, I'm thinking like,
right.
Yeah.
Whitley is the one that's spoiled and
say,
bougie.
Yeah. Yeah.
I just want you guys to admit that this first episode was terrible.
Well, I'll go first. I did not think this first episode was terrible. I thought it was significantly worse than the fourth season thing. So I don't know if I had watched it. I feel like if I'd watched it without seeing that fourth season one, I would like it even less because I forgave some of the things because it's like, well, I know it gets better and I like these characters now from what I already saw. But what if I hadn't seen any of that? I feel like I would have been, I wouldn't say sorely disappointed. I don't think it's as bad. I don't feel as strongly about that. I just felt like it was an average 80s sitcom first episode. It was okay.
I would say below average to me. There wasn't even that many jokes in it. I mean, like, usually you could tell where the jokes are supposed to be because they have like the laugh track. But like most of this episode was just kind of serious,
dramatic stuff.
Right.
And it seemed like, and it ended quickly too. You're like, that's it. They're like, there's not much going on. It's just about roommates. Rico, I know you want to jump in on this.
I have a theory.
Oh, that Ethereum, that's worth a lot right now.
Right? So.
You didn't get it. Yeah.
Dogecoin.
So A Different World was originally a vehicle for Lisa Bonet.
Right.
And her
to
character.
Spread her wings and fly.
Right. So I think what we're seeing in the first episode okay, I'm not going to go into other seasons, but what we're saying, because Michael Kenyon Rosenberg will not have it.
This is
he's right, and he is so right. But that was just the story. Sorry.
What I see happening, what I think they were trying to do is really pattern the energy around her character, which is it's pretty low key,
melancholy,
very melancholy, very chill. Works well on the Cosby Show because of
the other characters, right?
All the other characters, the surrounding characters, and what they're all about. You didn't really have big flamboyant type characters like Whitley and like Dwayne kind of overshadowing what her character was all about. Now, if the thing didn't happen that happened when she did Angel Heart and I guess other stuff, she might have even been pregnant. The show's she still would have probably been on the show, but I think they still would have upped the game. But I think what we're seeing is a Denise Huxtable show with Denise Huxtable energy, which I hate to say it.
Say it.
Okay, it kind of sucks the energy out of the room a little bit.
Yeah.
And as a result, it doesn't bring it to it's not hitting you in a way where you're like, whoa, that was wow. We're not getting that. We weren't getting that.
Sounds like a pretty good theory to me.
In that, thank you. In that respect. So that's what I'm thinking.
Yeah, no, it makes sense. She doesn't, and forgive me because I could be wrong because I've only seen her as the lead in one episode, but she didn't really feel like a lead because she didn't quite bring the energy of a lead. I'm not saying be a character actor like Whitley, but look at Dwayne Wayne brought energy to it. Even this Cook guy, right? I mean, this Cook guy was another one of my favorites because he only had a few lines, but he threw them at the audience. You know, like he was just like he chewed up the scenery and ate those lines.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Whereas Lisa Bonet was like, oh, and the character motivation was a little strange. I don't know. Just all of it just felt.
Well, even this guy.
It's a first episode, you know, whatever.
Him.
Calm down. What's going on, Rico? What are you? Are you having a fucking asthma attack?
Here. Guy.
Which guy?
That guy wasn't in the first episode.
Your pen's disappearing. We're not seeing.
No, but what I'm saying is, he has that. He had that energy about him. Everybody, like, yes, thank you. Why couldn't I do that?
I don't know. Because you're having an asthma attack.
But you know,
Muscle
had we
spasms.
had that, I think. I mean, look, because it was attached to Bill Cosby, the show was not going to go anywhere. So, regardless of it not being maybe the best first show, it was going to stay just by default.
Even if it was the worst first show?
I think it was going to stay by default because Bill Cosby had that much juice in pool.
Well, obviously it did. So.
Yeah, a lot of juice.
And I'm glad to hear that it got better and I wasn't just an idiot as a kid.
So much better.
Well, I think also everybody just enjoyed it as well from the get-go because it was a Cosby Show spinoff, and the Cosby Show was wildly successful, and this was basically like twice the Cosby, basically, you know. So we were predisposed to like it and root for it and enjoy it. But yeah. So
we were groomed to like it.
Did we all like Dwayne Wayne the best, or were there other characters that said? What about the mom? Whatever she was, the dorm
resident
mom,
director or whatever?
Yeah,
so that character was played by Loretta Devine, who
had no funny lines.
Well, to this day, I mean, she's like one of the biggest actresses out. But she was I think she was a young ingenue at the time, and so she didn't have. Again, I think she was. They brought her in, but they didn't know what to really do with her.
Yeah.
You know, we knew what her character was. It was established that she was the dorm director, but that was it. Like in the first episode, she has a kid.
Right. That kid was pretty much saved that character for me. Is that she had that cute little kid, and
right.
I was like, all right, cool.
I'm an alien. I'm Captain TJ or whatever.
They're like, okay, what worked in the Cosby Show? Okay, bring in a little kid. Yeah, okay.
That was cute. That was a cute moment. But again, it's like with that scene with Lisa Bonet, it's like with those two, they were fine. But as soon as Lisa Bonet came into the, she was in the room, I don't know. She just kind of brought the energy down a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
What was Lisa Bonet's character's name?
Denise
Huxtable, right? Yeah. Well, there was a line that I thought was funny, and that was when I guess Whitley's listening to the grasshopper chirps or whatever like that.
Cicadas.
And maybe it was later. Who freaking knows anymore?
Cicadas. They're all over the South.
Whitley says, "What does it look like I'm doing here?" And Jaleesa says, I think it was Jaleesa says, "Well, with the way you're rolling around, I'd say an impression of Stevie Wonder." Oh, that's when she was in bed on the couch.
On the couch, right.
Yeah. Right. So that's funny. And the other funny line there was when Jaleesa's like, "Oh, everybody's talking about me. And she's like, oh, Jaleesa did this and Jaleesa did that. And Jaleesa once punched a teacher. And Denise says, "I heard it was a dean." And so that was the joke that obviously she heard. I thought that was funny. That was clever. Those were really the two lines in that episode that I thought.
Humor that,
Those were the two lines that were closest to being jokes. Correct. Yeah.
I thought they were. I liked them. But yeah, two in a sitcom is not enough for me.
What did you guys think of the?
No! And then the other line that was actually funny was when Lisa Bonet goes, and this was a Whitley line that was funny, and but when she goes, she pulls out her wind chimes, and and she says, "Oh, it's a wind chime of retainers." And Whitley says, "Those have been in people's mouths," or whatever.
Yeah,
it was funny. I don't know if it was a funny line, but it was definitely funny delivery.
No.
Please continue, Rico. I'm sorry.
No, it definitely spoke to, again, what her character was all about, and just her whole thing. That's cheesy 80s comedy, man. I'm telling you that we're dealing with a time where it worked for the most part on one show, but it didn't really translate over well in a lot of ways.
I think everybody was just an idiot back in the 80s.
Writing was less sophisticated in the 80s, yeah. I mean, you look at most of the sitcoms that we know as like successful sitcoms. The first season or two were terrible, but just networks were just like, well, we'll give them another chance. We'll see what happens. And eventually, third, fourth, fifth, sixth season, they got good.
Now, there's nothing else on TV, so we'll stick with this.
But get it together, guys. That's basically what they told me.
Yeah. I know.
What did you guys think of the scene that basically introduced the restaurant that later on, basically is the place with all the kids hanging out?
Right. Well, I remember that from when I was a kid watching this. I mean, I remember that that was a major part of the show was the pit, that whole whole set. I mean, that's pretty much the same set because I remember them walking down those stairs and that whole little courtyard area right there. I mean, the whole restaurant. I mean, just that right there brought back fond memories for me. But then I was like, why did I like this show? It's so stupid. But obviously I only watched the first episode. So maybe if I watched the fourth season like Ryan did, or watched the whole thing before we started recording like Rico did. So
I think everybody needs to watch the first episode and then go watch the first episode of the fourth season. Everybody will be like, wow, that theme song that's already cool is a 10 now. And this show is great. And Whitley's amazing. And they'll be like, this is nuts. This is a big difference.
I got an idea. Why don't we do a 2.0 of this episode and watch the first of the fourth? And
you're talking the royal we, right?
The what?
The royal we?
What the hell is that?
He's saying
that's a white person thing.
Yeah, it's a white person joke too.
Cattywampus,
or what did you say?
Cattywampus. He's basically saying go watch the fourth episode of the first season yourself and go do your own podcast.
That is not. You are so rude, Michael. That is not how I meant it.
I will. Yeah, and I'm going to call it WTF of the fourth.
No, WTF.
And I'm gonna dedicate the first one.
Watch the first, watch the fourth.
Right.
Be like, welcome to a very original idea.
WTF OTF.
And I know somebody that would totally do it with you, Rico, is our good friend Sasha Kerbal. Shout out to Sasha. She'll definitely be a guest again soon. We've been talking with her. She's your podcast buddy.
And shout out to Rico too for suggesting that we do all black shows for Black History Month, and we finally had you on. So
suggesting.
No, I was the last person
you fucking better do it.
I know. I can't do this. I'm sorry. It's just not it. No, I appreciate you guys recognizing it and paying homage and
We like to tease Rico and pretend like we weren't going to have him as a guest on the show for his own idea. We're on the last one. He's like, what the hell's going on here, guys?
I'm just chilling at home like everybody else. Really?
Yeah.
Like, come on, boys.
Well, let's talk about you, Rico, by the way, because you deserve it. This is the longest you've maybe ever gone without talking about yourself, and I think that should be rewarded. And we should.
The world is now off its axis as a result.
First of all, we were talking before we started recording, though. We love the fro, the goatee look. It's awesome. It looks good. It made me sad when you had to cut it, but I'm glad that it grows back. I hope that you can get some roles that actually say, keep the fro, we love it. And actually they'll, pick it out a little bit more even, I think it looks great. But beyond that, what
Ryan's
is
jealous.
new?
He wants to have a fro. So.
I know.
My fro is hideous when my hair grows out. It just kind of poofs.
We want to see it, man. I want to see that. I want to see a poofy Ryan fro.
No, man, it's already
Come
getting.
on.
So what I do is I just put a hat on so that it doesn't poof.
Well, wait. Who cuts it? I mean,
Me.
Your
I have
hair has
clippers.
not been like this since last.
No, I just have clippers. It's easy. Hey,
Oh, okay.
I don't leave the house I hardly leave the house. I put a hat. I clip. It's a quick job.
Okay, you cut your own hair. Okay.
Oh, sure. Doug Jones said you can cut your own hair, so I can cut my own damn hair.
Doug Jones shaves it off because he's
He's like, why stop at the head? Whatever.
yeah,
Anyway.
skull.
Rico, stop changing the subject. We're trying to talk about you.
Not the Yvonne.
What's new? What are you working on? We know you're on SWAT, which was pretty freaking awesome.
Thank you.
Are you allowed to talk about the other things that are coming up?
Yeah.
Do it anyway.
Say it again.
Do it anyway.
All right, screw it. I lose one job, I'll just get another one. The cool thing about the fact that I have the fro now is because the character that I'm currently playing, has this fro. So I have to keep the fro regardless. Nice. So I'm shooting Truth Be Told, which is a TV show on Apple TV Plus.
Second season, right?
Yeah. We're shooting our second season.
Congratulations.
I'm Herbie. Thank you. And I'm reoccurring as Herbie in the show, which is cool because when I left Oregon, I was shooting a horror film called Get Gone, and I had the fro then, and I was actually going to cut it after I got back, and then I got the audition for Truth Be Told, and that's when I found out that it was one of my good friends' show. She was the showrunner on it, the show Trample Spellman. Mm-hmm. And her husband and myself were like best friends. And so
now I'm hurt.
Sorry, Ryan.
He's one of my
I guess you're just gonna have to settle for me.
Michael's the second best friend. And so and my friend Malcolm, he has a fro, and he's always like, Rico, when you do a show, you gotta do one with a fro. And if I'm in charge of the show, you gotta have the fro. So ironically enough, I get this audition after I'm coming back from shooting a film where I had the fro, and he's like, keep the fro. And I was like, all right, I'll keep the fro.
Is that ironic?
Don't you think? So yeah. I almost cut the fro again after SWAT because it was pretty low for that, and I also had to slick it back. But I was going to cut it, and then I got the call for Apple TV or for Truth Be Told, and so I was like, I can't cut nothing. So got that. Yeah, I'm hoping that the look continues in a way where it's not just looked upon as a cool 70s look or like
right.
Because, and that's fine. I mean, hey, I love the 70s and I love that look, but it'd be nice that it could be worn in just even in the 21st century and not being seen as a character look as opposed to.
That's how I feel about bell bottoms. When can I just wear my bell bottoms and not have people go, oh, it's retro? Like, let's just be.
Michael,
hey.
You want to tell him? Because
what do I know about fashion? Look at me. Come on.
I just like to walk and go zip, 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 zip.
I want to see both of you guys in bell bottoms. Not that I'm checking out your butts or anything, but I'm just saying.
No, but you would if they're in bell bottoms. Oh, no, sorry. That's corduroy, not bell bottoms.
Yeah, I was
they're all
going
the
to say.
same. Yeah, I give up.
I mean, if they're corduroy bell bottoms, maybe they would do that.
Bell bottoms are still tighter on your ass, and then, they flare out afterwards. So.
Yeah, it's a tushy thing. Well, that's really cool. Do you have anything coming around the pike that you're hoping for, or auditioning for, or working on, or any secrets?
I auditioned for and booked a film a couple of years back about Ernie Banks,
Cool.
who used to be in the Negro Leagues back in
Mhm.
the 50s, I think. The character that I play in the movie, it's called On Smoother Dirt. And the character that I play in the movie is Buck O'Neil, who was the manager of the Kansas City Monarchs before he was drafted into being a manager for the Chicago Cubs.
Mhm.
So I'm playing that character. It's a question of when the movie is going to get made. Louis Gossett Jr., Academy Award winning Louis Gossett Jr. is attached to the project.
Hey, that's not
Mr.
bad.
Mr. Enemy Mine himself, am I right?
Enemy Mine, Officer and a Gentleman, was just recently on the TV show Watchmen, the one season, and so so that's happening. It's just a question of when.
Wasn't he also in like a fighter pilot movie or something like that?
Flight,
Iron Eagle?
Yeah.
it wasn't Flight of the Navigator?
No.
Something like that. Iron Eagle? Okay.
But
I think it was Iron
something
Eagle.
like that. So
Well, that's really
that's
cool.
happening, and that's pretty much it. We the Lightning Hour, the talk show that I do with Sasha. We haven't gone into our third season yet, but
One of these some days.
one of these days, when we're not busy doing our thizzles. So that's it. And auditioning and hoping that things continue to get better for all parties involved.
Nice. Yeah, everybody check out the Lightning Hour, of course. We mentioned Sasha Kerbal. And who's the third person on your podcast?
Rochelle Henry.
Rochelle Henry. So we will include all of Rico's goodies in the description box below. Please be sure to check out that stuff. You're going to love his podcast. It's way better than this one because it doesn't have Ryan and Michael constantly interrupting him to say dumb jokes.
I didn't want to say it, but somebody did.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Sorry
it
about
happens.
that.
So let's move forward, guys. This is another one of my favorite parts. It's called The Terrible Twos.
The bottom line.
The bottom line is what Michael likes to call it because I called it that, but really he wanted to call it The Terrible Twos. Rico, you remember?
So you got
Bottom line only.
Right.
Right.
What do you think is a better title for this final segment? The bottom line or The Terrible Twos, Rico?
Probably bottom line.
I kind of like bottom line.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I knew you would.
Very
Yeah.
straight to the point.
See? So we're going to have to fight Michael because he wants it to be The Terrible Twos still. So
No,
we're going to...
I'll give up. I'll just say bottom line from now on.
We'll revisit this next week probably.
Sounds like somebody's getting their own podcast.
Anyway, so let's just go for the bottom line for now.
Yeah.
Final two
yeah.
questions.
Are you going to do like a little graphic thing where at the end it's like dun-dun-dun-dun-dun-dun-dun-dun?
It already happened.
Oh, good. Okay.
So, yeah, we have a pretty good special effects budget. It's pretty sizable. Here's the thing is final two questions. The first question is big time. These are really the big questions. If anybody only has a few minutes to tune in, this is when they tune in.
Yeah, just
So-
fast forward to this moment right here.
But also watch it.
Because the rest is just me talking about stuff other than the first. Like now.
So,
If you want to know about the first episode, start here.
yeah, really. On a scale of 1 to 10, Michael, what would you give the first episode of season 1
Right.
of A Different World entitled Reconcilable Differences?
Man.
I know.
Well, I mean, I guess now that I know that it gets better,
Just base it on this episode.
Well, I know, but you guys
Bottom line, Rosenberg.
both of you guys talked me up a little bit, though.
Bottom line, man.
So I guess
You're holding a doob? Is that what- You're like, bottom line, man. Come on.
bottom line, just
Right.
get stoned. So yeah, I guess if I'm going up from where I was originally, I would say that this one had the first episode of A Different World, Reconcilable Differences. For me, out of 1 to 10, I'm giving it. You guys talked me up, mind you.
Uh-oh, it's going to be a 3.
I'm giving it a 3.
Talked you up from a what?
No, it was always a 3.
Okay.
I was being dramatic.
I liked it. That was a good twist.
That's
Rico, the twist was there was no talking up. Scale of 1 to 10, what would you give the first episode of A Different World?
Let me pull Michael back. I heart this show so much for so many different reasons.
First episode only.
I know. But I really do. This show is very near and dear to my heart. I really do love this show. But that said,
Uh-oh.
if I had to dissect it like we did and go over certain talking points, I would say that I would give the show.
Not the show, the first episode.
The first episode.
Mike is hitting hard today. Woo! He is not letting
I just
anybody
want to keep you
deviate.
guys on track. You guys both want to veer off.
Hey,
I'm the same way. I can't help but be skewed because of what I saw.
Because I always had high anticipation for the first episode based on what I know, where it came from, what it represents, what it was advertised to represent. But what it gave us, I would say, I would give the show on a curve.
Tune in next week to find out what Rico E. Anderson.
No, I would give it I'm going to give it a solid 7.5.
Okay.
Yeah, that's about what I guess for you. Yeah.
Okay. I'm marking that in my notes because that's an important thing to note.
Yeah, sure.
So,
All right, Ryan, here we go.
I know.
First episode.
It's tough. I do vacillate a lot on this because of what I saw in the other one. I feel like what I saw in the other one brought up the score because I gave the characters more leeway because I already knew and liked them from the previous episode I'd just seen. So it felt like a 5.5 to me. It's probably lower, but I'll never know because the damage has been done. The influence is already there. So when I saw it, it felt like a 5.5 to me. It wasn't, I didn't think it was bad. It was a little boring, but it was fine. It was happy. It was easy to watch. It moved okay. It didn't drag too much. Like it was just fine. And there was still that nostalgic 80s feel that I enjoyed. So yeah, I was definitely influenced by watching the previous one, but it felt like a 5.5 to me. That's where I settled.
Okay.
So that's what I'm going to put down for Ryan T. Hustle.
Wait, what are you where are you typing and where?
On my keyboard.
Yeah.
What's this, sir? What, you got it in a Google chart?
We record it. Do you want to know what you actually? All right, let's take a quick break and tell everybody, Rico, what you have given. Even though didn't we just do this like a month or two ago?
Yeah.
Yeah, we did Golden Girls.
So this is how I know. Well, no, I'm saying say what everybody gave in past reviews.
Right.
So
We can do that at the end of the year.
Well, I'll just tell you everybody real quick, just so everybody knows if Rico rates high or low. Rico, for Quantum Leap, you gave it a 5.5.
Okay.
And you said let me guess, you would watch it. Yeah, you would watch it a second time. Where's your second one? Then you said you gave Golden Girls. You were my boy on that one. You were with me on giving it a 10, right? You and I gave it a 10, and Darth and Mike gave it a 9, and you said you would watch it again.
I thought I gave it a 9.5.
No, you gave it a 9.
Darth and I both give it a 9.5.
Right. Did I say 9? No.
Yeah.
You guys both gave it a 9.5. That's right.
Come on, man.
And I thought that Rico, you were on another time with us, but maybe not.
He was.
Oh, yeah, he was. Tiger King.
No.
Tiger King. Oh, no,
Tiger King
sorry.
was
The
Roz,
Office.
yeah.
The next
The
one.
Office,
Office,
right.
that's right.
We didn't rate it. That was before we did ratings, but we all said we would watch it again. So, okay. So that's Rico's lens. So this is why we record these things. We want to know what everybody thought in the past, because then you could revisit it and be like, it's a little harsh on it, or I was being too nice. So for the purposes of this podcast, we all had to watch A Different World, episode 1, season 1, called Reconcilable Differences. In 1987 was when it came out. Now that the podcast is over and we're all free to move about the internet and live our lives happily, Michael Kenyon Rosenberg, would you watch the second?
I would not watch the second episode. I might watch the first episode
of the
fourth season.
I think everybody should.
I would definitely not watch the second based on this first episode.
Mm-hmm. What about you, Rico? Based on this first episode, would you watch the second?
Absolutely, positively, 100%. Hell to the yeah.
It's just a yes is what I'm marking down. You don't
get
extra points.
We need to do a 2.0. Watch the fourth. Audience, what do you think? Chime in. All right, I've just thrown it out.
Rico's just trying to get on our podcast again.
He's like, why is this the shortest month of the year? We should have another one. Okay.
This episode only 59 minutes, and that's 60.
No, this one is already at 65 minutes, actually. So this is a good chunk of time.
Oh, we broke the hour mark.
So, that's funny. I marked yes for you, Mike. I need to be smarter about this. It was it was a no, wasn't it?
It was a no, yeah. I would not watch the second episode after watching this travesty of a first episode.
Yeah.
Although I'm kind of interested to see Marissa Tomei's character, but not enough to watch it. So.
Well, I'll tell you. I'm curious about the second episode because it's called Pilot Presentation. So I'm curious. I want to know, why that is, but that's curiosity based on the title. It's not based on the merits of this episode. Based on this first episode, I would not watch the second episode. Based on the fourth season, I would, of course. So I'm glad I saw that fourth season episode because it certainly gave me a much better appreciation for the show and it's much more forgivable. But based on this first episode, which Mike is telling me, yes, based on the first, no, you would not watch. And he's correct. I would not. I would not.
Basically, they fired the white girl, brought in Debbie Allen, and just flipped the whole thing.
Who was the white girl?
What happened?
Who was the white girl? The writer?
Exactly. No.
Lisa Levin, is that?
Marissa Tomei.
Oh, Marissa Tomei.
Oh, but she wasn't. Okay, I thought you were talking about writers.
I mean, they just flipped it.
How long was she in it?
I think 2 seasons.
Okay.
I could be wrong. It might have been 1.
And she never went anywhere in life.
Yeah, no, she pretty much
fell off the map.
She barely won an Oscar.
You wouldn't recognize her if you bumped into her.
Yeah.
Hey,
can I
please tell a quick story? I'll make it.
Yeah, let me just hit stop recording and then go ahead.
Okay. Yeah. Hey. So I've always wanted. I was living in Berkeley at the time when this show came out. I really wanted to be on this show.
In Berkeley. And I really wanted to be on this show. So, and I used to work at the Berkeley Marina Marriott, the Marriott Hotel on the Berkeley Marina. And I remember, and we'd have a lot of celebrities come to stay there for, whatever project they were doing. We were like the hotel. Debbie Allen stayed there one day and for like a week. And I was like, this is my opportunity to try to, meet Miss Allen and try to get on the show. Be the next Dwayne Wayne.
And so I wrote this. You guys remember those pieces of paper, the yellow paper? It was like
Post-its.
No. The shut up, Ryan.
The legal pads?
The legal pads. They were like longer than your standard pieces of paper. I wrote
legal size paper?
Yeah. I wrote 2 pages of a letter to Debbie Allen.
So rude. Giving her homework.
How much I love this show and I really want to be on it, but also how much the show really meant to me and just I respect her work as an artist and I want in. you know me, I want in. If I want in, I'm going to hit people up and let them know. So I did that. I put it in a manila envelope. I included my resume, my headshot resume, and I walked up to her door.
And slid it right under.
I was contemplating either sliding it under the door or just leaving it there. Because I was thinking sliding it under the door may seem way more stalkerish than just leaving it there. Mm-hmm. So I just kind of left it but I left it on the door. So when she opens up the door, it would just like, whoop, fall. So there's no mistake that she would have gotten it. I walked by maybe 3 hours later into my shift. She either got it or somebody stole it. But she never said anything. She never said it. I think she checked out when I wasn't working. And
deliberately
planned it that way. And so I never got a chance to work on A Different World. But 200 years later, I ended up working with her and being directed by her on an episode of Grey's Anatomy.
Cool.
Where I had an opportunity to tell her about it.
Okay, this is the moment we've been waiting for.
And
a point.
She told me that she thought that was very sweet. It was very innovative. She's glad I didn't slide it under the door. And basically she ended it with, and here you are.
I was going to say, I bet she was happy that she's like, look, you made it, dude.
Yeah. But she's the greatest. She's the sweetest. And I'm glad that I did that. I'm also glad that I had the opportunity to tell her what this show meant to me. And, just the fact that I really wanted to work with her, in which case I ended up doing so.
Well, she produced 122 episodes, and there were 144 episodes in total. So maybe third seasons when she came on.
Yeah, she's the reason why that show became successful. She really is.
Cool.
So there you go.
And I bet can you imagine like if you never did that manila envelope thing, you would always be thinking, what if? Now what if. Okay, nothing happened, but at least you're not wondering, like, did I just blow an opportunity of a lifetime or something like that? So it's good to always do it and just, like they say, it's better to try and fail than to fail to try.
As we're forgetting.
She directed 83 episodes. Bulk of the series, dude.
She's a beast, man, and
that's
basically
mean.
Has the keys to Grey's Anatomy. She directs half, if not all of them.
Is that show still on?
Yeah.
Wow, that sucks for us.
15th season or something.
Anyway.
All right, I guess somebody's going to have to say eventually WTF Grey's Anatomy.
Right, good point. WTF Grey's Anatomy.
Somebody. Wait, do you only do it if somebody mentions it, or if you don't hear anything, you just go, hey. What?
Now, who mentioned this show, Ryan?
This one?
Different
I mean,
world.
that must have been me, yeah. But
yeah, if nobody else mentions it and we don't mention it, then we don't do the show. So.
Right. Sometimes Mike mentions, hey, there's a new show that we need to review. So sometimes it's that too. But yeah, when people give us suggestions, that always goes at the top of our list. And we hear you, we see you. And as you guys saw, I make a note of everything. So we are aware of all of the things, and we know,
There's only so much time. There's only 52 weeks in a year. So that's only 52 shows, and there's new shows coming out all the time that we have to jump on them. So sorry about that.
Yeah,
everybody.
and speaking of 52, next week is our 50th show extravaganza.
Whoa.
50th show extravaganza, and I predict that we will review The Dark Crystal for our 50th. I know, for our 50th. That's it.
The movie?
Yep.
The audiobook.
So I guess that's about it. Yeah, please.
Can I be the first to say?
Please.
I'm about to give you guys some love. I want to be the first to say congratulations on your 50th show.
Thank you. Well, congratulate us on our 52nd show, because that'll be 1 year.
Full year. But yeah, thanks, Rico. We appreciate that. We appreciate the love and support you've given us throughout this entire year. And I predict also that we'll probably forget to mention it, our 50th, while we record the 50th. So we'll just
Well,
leave it at
what are you
that.
gonna do?
Yeah.
Anyway, so everybody at home, if you'd like us to review a show, just say WTF and that show. I always say the same ones over and over. How about WTF Three's Company?
Ooh.
WTF MASH? WTF? No, I already said MASH.
WTF.
After MASH.
That
Yeah.
girl.
Yeah, WTF other shows that Remington
Crowd,
Steele,
spin-off of Three's Company.
Hunter, MacGyver, whatever. Manimal.
What's happening?
Yeah, what's happening now? You guys remember Manimal?
No.
I do. For like what?
Half a season, I think.
Yeah. WTF, The Man from Atlantis with Patrick Duffy.
Yeah.
Last
All
week.
of those shows.
You
and
had me
more.
you had me at Patrick. You lost me at Duffy.
Well, WTF, The Incredible Hulk. Wonder Woman. Superman.
Great.
Those are all possibilities.
Those
yeah.
are all shows.
Mention
Anyway,
it, people.
let's get out of here. So please do that. Like, subscribe, and click on the buttons that go to Rico's stuff. And everybody be nice to each other. Have fun. Watch A Different World. First episode of the first season and the first episode of the fourth season. And then come back and comment and be like, you missed out, Michael. You should have watched the fourth season. It's pretty good.
I said I might. I said I
You
might.
should.
I said I would not watch the second episode of the first season, though.
Right.
so.
Me neither. Anyway, best of luck to everybody. We'll catch you next time. This podcast was a lot of fun with some really cool dudes.
This podcast was a review of almost everything except the first episode of A Different World.
Because I'm here. This podcast got me in the feels because it brought back some really cool memories of a really cool show, and I got to hang out with some really cool dudes talking about it.
Where?
It's us.
Oh,
RTH.
Then I hung out
tiger,
That's a Rob
tiger,
Van Dam
kangaroo, and
reference.
elephant.
And everybody remember what Michael Kenyon Rosenberg likes to say.
Don't forget to watch the fourth season, episode 1 of Things before you watch the first of Things, apparently.
Spin off.
Wow, what a catchphrase.